Hi guys. Oh, I thought I was posing for taking a new thumbnail, but apparently I hit go live instead of take a new thumbnail. Hi, I'm Kristin and welcome to my channel, From Chronic Fatigue to Chronic Abundance. On this channel, I talk about what helped me heal all 3 times I needed to heal from severe chronic fatigue as a symptom. The interesting thing is that even though I got sick once and I healed, I got my entire life back for a whole year, I relapsed. And then I was recovering and I relapsed again and then I recovered. Each time I needed different doctors, different blood work, different health practitioners, different treatments, okay? There is no one path to health when you are living with severe chronic fatigue, regardless of the cause. What I teach here is the one thing that helps me every single time, and that is my mindset. I call it the healing mindset, and I'm here to teach you the healing mindset because it's going to help you save energy every day. It's going to help give you more motivation and hold on to hope even in those really, really dark moments. And it's going to help you learn to advocate for yourself as you're searching for answers, as you're bouncing around from doctor to doctor, as you're being told there's nothing wrong and that you just need to exercise more and sleep more and all that bullshit, right? The healing mindset keeps you going and keeps you focused on what's really important, which is reclaiming your health. Awesome. So this is my weekly live Q&A where you show up with questions and I show up with answers. Go ahead and start typing your answers up. The way it works is in the chat box. I will just go and start answering them in order once they start rolling in. No question is too big or too small or too silly or too serious or too anything as long as it has to do with life with severe chronic fatigue as a symptom. People have asked questions about specific symptoms they have. A popular topic lately has been intolerance to heat and cold. People ask about how to deal with family members. They ask about doctors. They ask about what to do if I am doing all the healing mindset stuff and I'm still getting sick. I should have said this earlier, I'm not saying that this disease is only in our head and that we fix it with our mindset. That's not the case, okay? In myself, healing mindset helped me get better. It was a critical part of me getting better, but it was not all I needed. I still needed the doctors and the blood work and the treatments. But the healing mindset was like a catalyst and enabled everything to be more effective. And it kept me going on this really, really hard journey of recovery. So even if you adopt the healing mindset, it's not all that you need, but it will help you. It will help you save energy every day. It'll help you have a better quality of life. And it will help you, just like I said before, just keep going through this really hard work of discovering your own healing journey. Awesome. Let's see. For my regulars, we've been talking about diet a bit lately. People have been asking about diet. Do I know about this diet, that diet? What do I think? Does it help? Blah, blah, blah. And my answer generally has been that if you have food allergies or food intolerances, then you need to do the work it takes to discover those, and you need to adjust your diet accordingly so that you are avoiding the foods that cause allergic reactions or cause food intolerance reactions, because those are definitely going to get in the way of your healing journey if you're continually hurting yourself through your food choices. If you don't know if you have any food allergies or intolerances, I highly recommend doing some sort of medical testing or doing an elimination diet to find out for sure. It's worth doing the work to find out if you do have those allergies or intolerances so you can avoid those foods. Outside of that, I don't think that there are too many diets that do too much good for the majority of us with severe chronic fatigue. There are exceptions. Some people do need the right diet to feel better. But one thing I think is ignored is how stressful and how draining many of these diets are. And even if they do provide some benefit, I think for the majority of people, not everyone, but the majority of people, the costs of these strict diets outweighs the gain. Okay, we may feel a little bit better. We may have a little bit more energy as a result of the diet. We may see a little bit of weight loss or some acne clear up. But we also need to take into account the stress that we're going through mentally, emotionally, and physically because of these restrictive, limiting diets. We need to think about how hard it is to acquire and prepare the foods that we need to eat. We need to think about how hard it is to resist eating the bad foods. You know, we need to just really think about enjoyment of our diet and our foods. Are we not enjoying mealtime because of the diets that we're on? That's a negative impact on our health over time as well. So I don't think it's a bad thing to try diets and play around with them and see what works for you. But I do encourage you to evaluate what it's costing you to stick to these diets, okay? And what you're going to learn from them. I think it's great for everyone to try an elimination diet if you have severe health issues, because it'll help you uncover food intolerances and allergies, which is an important thing to know. But elimination diets are designed to be short term. They're designed to last you like maybe a few months, where you have like a 30-day, like 1 month elimination period where you have a very limited diet and it's very hard to stick to and takes a lot of planning and work. And then the next like couple months are about reintroducing certain foods or food groups and seeing how your body responds. And that's a lot of work and it's very stressful. But if you discover some food allergies or intolerances, then that time and effort has been completely worth it, because now going forward, you can remove those foods from your diet and you're going to see a net positive impact from that, okay? But don't turn an elimination diet into something long-term, because it's just not designed that way. Hi, Catherine. Yes, you're welcome. Okay, so I want to talk about diet because it's been coming up a lot. I just talked through where I think diets are important and how to test them out and what to look for when you're on them, but also what to consider. Consider the cost of that diet, the emotional cost, the stress cost, the energy cost, also the financial cost of these diets needs to be factored in, because let's be frank, some of them are kind of expensive to eat that way full time. So always make sure to really balance what you're getting out of a diet with this feeling of we should be on a diet and it should be making us better and blah, 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 blah. It's all about balance. I've said that I don't need any special diets to heal. I've healed without special diets. I've tried a lot over the years. Trust me. I used to be a big proponent of the paleo diet, especially. I had some online business products relating to the paleo diet way back in the day. Excuse me. I'm over that now. It's misleading for me to say that I don't follow a diet and that I eat whatever I want, which I think are both true statements, but when I say those things, they mean something different than what they probably mean to you. So I just want to clarify like what type of diet I eat now and what type of diet I was eating when I did heal, all 3 times. Which was always slightly different. It was never the exact same diet. I wasn't like regimented and strict about what I was eating. The first time I healed, I was eating paleo still. The second and third times I healed, I was eating in a much more relaxed manner, similar to the way I eat now. And when I say that I don't really diet, I eat whatever I want. I didn't need a special diet to heal. I don't want people to think that means that I'm eating McDonald's and Cheetos all the time, because I rarely, if ever, eat those things. And while those things may taste good once in a while, it's just not something I'm honestly interested in eating. When I say I eat what I want to eat, what I literally for my entire life, I've enjoyed eating lots of vegetables, especially fresh vegetables. I enjoy eating lots of fruit and fresh fruit. I enjoy cooking my own meals at home and eating my home cooked food way more often than I eat food from a restaurant or something I've gotten delivered or something I grab quick from a convenience store. So I would say that the way I enjoy eating and the way I eat would be considered like a special diet for other people, because they don't naturally gravitate to the same foods that I gravitate towards. So when I say that I didn't need a special diet to heal, what I really mean is that I don't restrict anything from my diet. If I really want something, I go eat it. Whether that be, if I got a craving for McDonald's French fries tonight, I would go to McDonald's and get French fries. No guilt, no shame. No worries about the long-term impacts to my health if I want to eat fries once. I just don't have that pull to do that, like, ever. What I do eat is I eat a lot of vegetables. I eat organic, I eat beyond organic, I eat super local. Like the vast majority of vegetables and fruit that I eat were grown and harvested from within 100 miles of where I live right now, which has a ton of health benefits. And I know people say, or there's a lot of debate about, is organic really better? But in my opinion, and according to science, your fruit and vegetables are always going to be more nutritious if you're eating them closer to the time that they were picked. I'm eating fruits and vegetables that, like, the day they're delivered to me, they were picked 24 to 48 hours ago, max. All right, so they're super fresh. If I went to the grocery store and bought those same foods, they were picked anywhere from like 1 to like 3 weeks ago. They're just not as nutritious because they've been sitting around longer, and it's just natural that oxidation happens and vegetables and fruits start to break themselves down and go through the rotting process. And it's a slow process of making the vitamins and nutrients unavailable for our nutrition when we consume them. Okay, that's a little bit of a tangent. I don't, let's see, I do eat all the bread and carbs that I want to eat. I love bread. I love rice. Sugar's really tasty sometimes. All that stuff is cool with me. However, I don't enjoy eating like normal grocery store white bread. That soft sandwichy stuff, I don't like it. Even a lot of the stuff you buy in the store now, you can get something that looks like a French loaf of bread with like a nice crust on it. But even a lot of those anymore are turning into softer and softer breads because they're more processed and they have a lot more crap added to them. I don't enjoy eating those breads. The breads that I do enjoy eating are actually way more nutritious and have a lot less gluten in them naturally. Not because of the grains used, but because of the way the bread is processed before it's baked. So traditionally, when you look at like human history and how we've made bread, the past 100 years has seen humans making bread completely differently than we did prior to that time. Now, what people used to do is they used to get bread dough ready at night, okay? And they would let that bread dough sit overnight, sometimes even for a whole day before they would bake it. And that does something really, really important. They have yeast and cultures, sometimes the sourdough culture in the bread. And those cultures are actually going to work in the dough, creating gases. So you get like those like bubbles and like fluffy, airy texture. But it's also breaking down the gluten and the proteins in bread. So that when it goes time to bake the bread, there's actually like something like 90 or 95% of the gluten has been inactivated, okay? So one reason we're seeing so much more gluten sensitivity today is because we're eating so much more gluten than ever before because we're not taking the time to ferment our foods properly. The ancients had that traditional wisdom of fermenting their breads because it broke down the gluten that was problematic. It also helps make some of the nutrients inside our grains more bioavailable. So we have less bad for us and more nutritious bread as a result of this fermentation process. And I buy my bread made locally with organic grains and everything. But the big thing about, there's two big things about the bread that I buy and that I've been eating for years now. One is that it's all fermented bread. So it has the gluten naturally deactivated. Halford's begging to come in. And the other thing about a lot of modern bread flours, is that they add bromides to the flours. I forget the exact chemical reason why they add bromides. They used to add iodine to bread, which was a healthy nutrient to add to bread for this reason, but bromides are cheaper, so now we rely on bromides for the same things in our bread. Bromides are not healthy. Bromides are actually very toxic and cause fatigue as a major symptom. And as someone who's been diagnosed with bromide toxicity, I go out of my way to avoid bromides in my breads, okay? And I can only do that in two places. One is from local bread makers who are very transparent about what is and is not inside their breads. So I only buy bread products made from fermented, non-brominated flours. And then there's one national brand here in the US that does not add bromides to their flours, and that's Pepperidge Farm. Pepperidge Farm does a great job of keeping their breads healthier for people. I definitely eat meat. I am not a vegan. I am not a vegetarian. I'm definitely a meat eater. But the meats that I do eat are also locally raised, and they're all 100% grass-fed, not the grocery store marketing term of grass-fed, but cows that are actually spending their entire lives on grass. It's a big common misconception about what 100% grass-fed means on meat labels and markets, because to meet that marketing label, that federally controlled marketing label, you actually only have to have the cows on pasture up until the last 6 months of their lives. The last 6 months of their lives, they can go to a feedlot and eat corn and soy and grains. Excuse me, I feel like I have something in my lip. And what they've shown is that even though the cow mostly ate grass for the first, several years of their lives, that last 6 months turns the cow's nutrient profile and its fatty acid profile into one of a cow that has spent much more time, or its life only eating grains. So what that means is that the marketing term 100% grass-fed actually means almost nothing, because you're not actually getting any of the nutrient or fat profile benefits of eating grass-fed, and you're just paying more for something that isn't worth anymore. So it's really important to me to buy locally again, because I can get to know the people who are supplying my food, and I can know how they're actually raising that cow, and I can know that I'm actually getting the benefits of a fully grass-fed cow. Same thing for pastured chickens. The marketing term pastured chickens you see on cartons of eggs in the grocery store is federally tracked, but all it means is that you can have a giant warehouse of chickens packed in there, and they just need to have a little 3 by 10 patio attached to the warehouse that's completely screened in. And as long as the chickens can access this area where fresh air is blowing through every now and then, they get to call that entire warehouse of chickens free range. That's not free range. That's not real organic. That is not in the spirit of how any of those labels came to be. It's really important to me that if I'm eating chicken and eggs, it's from chickens that actually spent their lives out in grass, digging up bugs and eating bugs. This whole vegetarian feed things for chickens is ridiculous, because chickens actually aren't vegetarians naturally. If you have a chicken out in the wild, it's going to be eating a lot of insects. It's going to be foraging. Actually, I should say it's going to be scavenging. What chickens will do is, it's documented, they don't do it all the time, but if there's a rat or a mouse around, chickens will run after that mammal and they will kill it. They will peck it to death, and then they will eat it. They will eat a mouse or a rat that they've just killed themselves. Okay. They have a craving for meat, just like we do. They're actually omnivores. So it's important to me to be eating chickens that are eating their natural diet, because that's how they are healthiest. And when I'm eating the healthiest animals, it's giving me the most nutrients to be the healthiest person. Let's see, what else about what I eat? All right, let me catch up on the comments here, and then I'll get back to my not so simple diet. Oh, Catherine, you have Lyme's disease and you're starting a treatment plan and you're overwhelmed with that, and you can't even start to change your diet right now. That's fine, Catherine. I don't think you need to. I think you've done a really great job evaluating what's going on in your life with what you should be doing. What you should be doing is focusing on healing. And if changing your diet is too stressful right now, if it's too much for you, leave it out. Just focus on the most important things. It's okay. A lady and a piano. Hello. You thought they had to say grass finished or grass fed. They're always changing the rules, and it's frustrating. It is. It is frustrating. If you see grass fed and grass finished, that is a more meaningful label, but I'm not sure if grass finished is actually a federally tracked label. I'd have to look into that one. But I have heard that you're much more likely to actually get fully grass-fed beef if you see grass-fed and grass-finished, because that grass-finished, that last 6 months of the cow's life is most important in producing meat that has the most nutrients and best fat profile. Let's see. So what else about what I eat? We've talked about proteins. And when I eat for proteins, I'm at home. Obviously, I also have flexibility in my diet. I enjoy going out to eat. I enjoy going out to eat with friends. And I know that it would be impossible, literally impossible, to go out and have a bunch of relaxing evenings, out to dinner, trying new things with friends if I was militant about my diet. So when I'm out, I'm not going to be able to hold myself to these standards. I do prefer going to restaurants that source some or all of their ingredients from local farmers, but I know that not everyone is into those restaurants, and sometimes it's nice to just try something new. So when I'm out, I do have a few general guidelines. Like I tend to not get something fried because it's usually fried in vegetable oils like peanut oil or canola oil. And those are really, really unhealthy fats. And I just don't feel good when I eat fried foods. Even if the food tastes good when it's going in, I feel crappy for hours afterwards. I think because of the rancid oils that have been used to fry, because those vegetable oils like peanut, canola oil, etc., they go rancid very, very quickly. When I say rancid, I mean that the fatty acids themselves are very easily broken down into their constituent parts, and that's what rancid means. Is that the oils, the fat, like the fatty molecules themselves, are no longer intact. They've been adulterated in some way, broken down or oxidized. And when we eat those oils, our body doesn't like oxidized or broken down oils. It's actually a problem. So the body has to work hard to do a lot of cleanup on those oils. Whereas if we're eating non-rancid, non-adulterated oils like raw olive oil, or we're eating cooked saturated fats, which are very stable when cooked, our body doesn't need to do cleanup on those fats. It's actually an easier, I'll just say cleaner source of fuel and nutrition for us. I'm a giant nutrition nerd. I'm trying to just share what's interesting and useful without going overboard. But if I'm going overboard, you can just holler. Hi, Jamie. For those of you who joined late, before the questions start coming in, which you guys can start posting questions anytime you want. Before I have questions to answer, I wanted to address the fact that I've been talking about diet, and I've said to you that I never needed any special diets to heal. And after reflecting on that, I'm not sure that that's exactly true what I said, or when I say that I don't follow any diet, it probably means something very different to me than it does to you when you hear that. I'm trying to explain that it doesn't mean that I eat McDonald's and Cheetos all the time, because I very much don't. And it's not that I'm like controlling or limiting myself. I just personally don't really ever have a desire to eat that stuff. I don't feel good long term when I eat those things, so I don't have much of a pull towards them. The diet I've been eating now for the last 2 times I healed, and since then, is one that's much more relaxed. Whatever I want to eat, I go eat it. If I wanted McDonald's French fries for dinner, I would go get them. No guilt, no shame. I'm not going to worry about the long-term health consequences of one meal. But I do eat very clean. I do very much focus on micronutrients. I focus a lot on eating very nutritionally dense foods, because those just make me feel great when I eat them. So I do eat a ton of fresh and cooked vegetables. I love eating vegetables. If I don't eat enough vegetables, I start to crave them. Okay, like I will just eat them in massive quantities. I love vegetables, and I love making them delicious. Okay, I'm not just sitting there eating like raw broccoli. Like it's not something I've ever done because I don't enjoy it. Like I love making really big fun salads with lots of colors and lots of flavors in there, and really good olive oil and vinegar and some spices and seasonings and lots of salt. I need lots of salt in my vegetables for them to taste good to me. I eat a lot of fruits. I eat a lot of very local clean meats. I eat carbs. I eat all the carbs I want. I love carbs. They're great. Potatoes, bread, the right kind of actually healthy bread, rice. I just had like rye crisps with meat and cheese for lunch. Love that kind of stuff. Carbs are not a problem. And if I love sugar too. Like if I want something sweet, I eat something sweet. I probably eat something sweet twice a day, every day. Like a little something after lunch and a little something after dinner, I would say most days. Some days that's a piece of fruit. Last night it was a bunch of frozen berries with some yogurt and granola on top. I have this little box of watermelon sour gummy candies, and sometimes I want a couple of those. Sometimes I want ice cream. Sometimes, there's this really wonderful sorbet. It's called Sorbabes. And it's really low sugar lemon sorbet that has like extra fiber, and it's like sweetened with like xylitol or something, but it tastes just like regular sorbet. And I love that stuff. I will eat that stuff by the pint. It's ridiculously good. And I have eaten it by the pint. So I'm just trying to convey, like, I don't follow what I consider any strict diet, but to most people, what I eat is something that's out of the norm. So I just want to give you that context around what my diet is and what helps me, what I was eating when I healed. I don't necessarily believe that my diet contributed a lot to me healing. I think it definitely plays a supporting role in healing. But I think at this point, we all know well enough to not be eating McDonald's and Cheetos all day, every day when we're this ill, right? Like, I think we all know the basics of like incorporate a lot of vegetables, eat as clean as you can, as you know, it can be harder to source and pay for super clean meals, but do what you can. And just focus on cutting out like highly processed packaged foods. Like, I think that is something everyone can do. That describes my diet. I think if you don't have any food allergies or intolerances, I think those are the most guidelines you need. Jamie, yeah, they do. My boyfriend is a big audiophile. This is normally my boyfriend's office, but he went into his like real office today, and so I'm stealing his office for this YouTube. And he takes calls. Like these speakers are literally just for his phone calls every day, which he is on all day every day because he does sales for his company. And then maybe I shouldn't do this, a little brag on Brian's behalf, but then he also has another pair of those speakers over there with his piano and his guitar. Like Halford's over there now, the cat. But yeah, he's a second set of speakers just for when he feels like jamming out. He's ridiculous. But I love them. They are nice speakers. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. Okay. Lisa says she eats very clean. She also allows herself pie or pizza every now and then without worrying. Yeah, like I tell you what, if you're going to eat something but you're worried about it, you feel bad about it. What is the saying? It is better to eat a piece of cake with a smile on your face than it is to eat a salad with a frown. Okay, and it's better to eat a piece of cake with a smile than it is to eat a salad with a frown. And what this is saying is it's talking about the connection between how we feel and how our body responds to that. Like, it's better for us to do things that leave us feeling good long term. Like, if it's going to feel really good to eat a piece of chocolate cake, go ahead and eat it. If you're going to eat that and you're going to feel like shit afterwards, it's not worth it. Like, it means if you're wanting to do things that leave you feeling like crap, it means that there's a disconnect internally and that there's a little bit of inner self-work you need to do, a little more self-love you need to bring in to help align your desires with what leaves you feeling good. I won't go deep into that topic right now. Lisa just ate rice mixed with organic mushroom soup and peas and an orange. That sounds like a great meal, like a very relaxed, easy, nutritious meal. Like, that's how I eat. Like, my lunch was like rye crisps with some like local sheep's milk cheese and some like beef salami and Grey Poupon mustard, because that was easy to throw it together in 5 minutes. And then just a little salad of like whatever I had in my fridge, which was tatsoi greens. I had fermented beets on hand and some daikon radish with really great Greek olive oil, extra virgin olive oil, some red wine vinegar, and then just sprinkled all over the top of the thing is Trader Joe's onion salt. I love Trader Joe's onion salt on salads. It's super salty, and then it has different alliums in it. Like, I think it has garlic, onion, scallions, and shallots or something like that in it, but it's so good. So freaking good. Jamie, it is overkill. Yeah, and he's a musician. He plays piano, he plays guitar, but he sings the most. He's a fantastic singer. He does all 80s metal. He's in an 80s metal cover band. So he's singing like Judas Priest and Queensryche and Led Zeppelin. He's phenomenal. Okay, Lisa. Lisa does have to follow a special diet due to her making kidney stones. Yep. And she doesn't tolerate the MSG or sulfites. And that is a good thing to know, that you don't tolerate those things. Those are the intolerances I was talking about at the beginning of this video that we do need to learn. It's important to know what those are so we can avoid them, because avoiding allergens and things we're intolerant to is going to help our health. And everyone needs a different diet. Yeah, Lisa, that sums it up right there. It's we're all looking for this silver bullet. We're all looking for the thing that is going to make us better. The one thing. Tell me the one thing, right? We all want to just be told the one thing. And there is no one thing. Not in our healing journeys, and also not in our diets. It requires experimentation to find out what works for you and what doesn't work for you. Some people go vegetarian and feel a lot better, okay? Some people go vegetarian and feel a lot better, and then 6 to 12 months later feel a lot worse and need to eat meat again. Whereas other people are vegetarian for life and feel amazing. Like me, I cut out carbs for a very long time, and that left me miserable. I feel so much happier and healthier and balanced with carbs in my life. In fact, a large quantity of high quality carbs in my life. Like I said, not Wonder Bread, but like actually fermented, locally made, unbrominated flour breads make me feel fantastic. Lots of potatoes, lots of rice. In fact, if I don't get enough carbs in a day, I feel off and I start to crave a lot of sweets and things at night. And I've been able to cut out those nighttime sweets cravings by having a lot more carbs at breakfast and lunch. Crazy, isn't it? Our body tells us what we need, and if we listen, it responds accordingly. Yeah, so the best way to find out what's great for you is to give yourself permission and latitude to experiment. Yeah, the no carb thing. So many of us have done the no carb, low carb thing for a long time, because we see all these great stories about, oh, I lost all this weight and I had all these health improvements, and oh, insulin, and like we're hearing all these reasons that should be really good for us. But when in practice we try these things and they don't work out for us, we have this really terrible tendency to blame ourselves. We say, oh, I don't feel good on this diet. I must be doing it wrong. I must not be sticking to it strictly enough. I must need to cut out more stuff. I must need to not have that one cheat meal a week. Sometimes it just means it doesn't work. We're not always to blame when diets don't work for us. Sometimes it just means it's not the right diet. Thank you, next. Right? So what questions do you guys have today? We're over a half hour in, and it's just been me wanting to clarify my diet talk up until now. Supposed to help. I mean, carbs are the body's easiest and fastest source of energy. We're people who struggle with energy. Why would we make it harder and more costly and more energy inefficient for our bodies to get energy from our food, right? I don't know anyone, maybe I shouldn't say that. For the vast majority of people I'm aware of, eating carbs when you have severe chronic fatigue is a good thing. Obviously, like if you eat too much sugar, you're going to go in like the high and the crash, and that's not going to be good for your health, because those crashes I'm talking about sugar crashes are hard for the body to recover from. They're hard on the body. So we don't want to go into like a sugar crash cycle. But eating healthy, stable, fibrous carbs, the fastest and easiest way for your body to get energy from your diet, period. I don't know why people recommend it as a way to get better from severe chronic fatigue. I don't know why they think it's going to help energy when we're already energy strapped, because our cells, the literal cells in our body, our mitochondria, are already struggling to produce enough energy. I don't know why people think that making that process less efficient is going to help us. Because that's what keto is. That's what these like low carb diets do is they require the body to use fats for fuel, okay? And even if we aren't eating carbs, like our bodies need carbs or carb-like things to make energy, all right? So our bodies will actually manufacture its own glucose. It'll manufacture its own carbs, and it also manufactures ketones for the body to use. We're making our body go through extra steps to create ketones and to produce glucose when we eat low-carb diets. Whereas instead, if we just eat healthy carbs, we can get glucose molecules straight into our bloodstream from our guts, no extra steps, no extra energy required. I know that's a vast simplification of biology, but I think the general principles are there. Doesn't mean you shouldn't try going low carb if you have a genuine interest in doing it and you're going to stick to it. But I personally don't. I personally would never recommend that for you guys. Yeah, Anna's still eating carbs because it feels too wrong not to. There you go. That's it. It doesn't work for you. Let's see, Catherine, your doctor wanted you to cut out gluten, dairy, and sugar. You definitely cut back on the sugar, but as a vegetarian, you can't imagine cutting out the other two. I know you get so many nutrients from dairy, especially. There's a lot of things you're getting from dairy as a vegetarian that you're not going to get anywhere else, that are really, really hard to add into your diet without a lot of supplements or a lot of cost, or both. It's just become this like generally accepted fact that gluten, dairy, and sugar are bad. All bad. Oh my God, all the time. And I just don't think that's the case. It's true that there are a lot of unhealthy people who eat gluten, dairy, and sugar, but I tell you what, there are a lot of healthy, skinny people eating gluten, dairy, and sugar too. All right. I think we all went a little crazy with the promise of like paleo and the dangers of gluten, dairy, and sugar. I think there are more moderate approaches we can take. Like if we understand why dairy can be problematic for some people, if you're intolerant or allergic to casein or lactose, that's a reason not to eat dairy. Or you can eat like lactate products with your dairy, or you can eat like goat's milk, cheeses, or something like that, or drink goat's milk as a way around that. For me, I think one thing about dairy that's problematic for me is the fact that most conventional dairy has a significant of milk in it from pregnant cows. And there's a really big problem with milking pregnant cows. And it's something that our ancestors didn't do. And it's something that really intentional, caring local farmers don't do. Because milk from pregnant cows, like we're milking a cow while it's pregnant. The way that, let me go back up. The way that happens is like these dairy cows, I'm sorry if you can hear the vacuum in the background. Our cleaner's here today. So you have these dairy farm cows, and you know at some point it needs to get pregnant, because as it's pregnant, it starts to produce milk into its udders, and then it starts getting milked, and the milking continues. Like once a cow has been pregnant and you start milking it, it will continue to produce milk as long as it's being milked. And this can go on for a very long time because the cow's body thinks that there is a baby cow drinking all of that milk, so it continues producing more. That will wane and taper off eventually, and they need to get the cow pregnant again so that it refills its like milk supply and continues the milk supply. But since the cow was impregnated a second, third, fourth, fifth time, while it was still lactating, it continues to lactate through pregnancy, which is not a normal thing, okay? And when a cow is pregnant, just like when a human woman is pregnant, there are lots and lots of hormones floating around in that cow's body, and lots of hormones coming out in that cow's milk because it's pregnant. And those extra hormones get mixed into conventional milk. So we're getting a lot more things like estrogen out of cow's milk than is really healthy. It's actually kind of like taking a low dose birth control pill every day that we're drinking conventional milk. Men and women are getting like these micro doses of estrogen from conventional dairy. So I focus on buying my cow's milk dairy from the one local supplier I know that does not and will not milk pregnant cows. All of our milk is only from non-pregnant cows. So So there's that lowered estrogen. So you're not getting that estrogen dose in your food every day, and that's important to me because I have fibroids, which are impacted by estrogen levels. See, it all ties together. All right. I'm going to get off that gluten, dairy, sugar topic. Let's see. Yeah, Anna, she doesn't eat sweets. She doesn't want them, but bread potatoes are still the best for her. You know what? My favorite thing is like cook potatoes, have leftovers, put potatoes in the fridge and reheat them. I don't know what it is, but like I swear reheated potatoes are fantastic in their own way. Like I love reheated potatoes. Let's see, Jamie, a key part of your recovery is to accept that you do not have a disease and that you are in control of your recovery. Yes. However, there is a large ME/CFS community that is adamant that ME/CFS is caused by some unknown disease process that can only be cured by medical intervention. You do not believe it to be true, but it just distracts you from recovering and it brings anxiety. Jamie, you speak the truth. It's still to this day, it's shocking to me how many people hold on to this idea that there is nothing that can be done. And if you healed, then you didn't have what I have. I don't know why people would ever want to so adamantly believe they have no hope. Because that's what it amounts to. Because even if they discover the root causes of ME/CFS in the next 5 to 10 years, which who knows if they will, there's not a lot of research being done on it. It's going to take even longer to then find a cure. Right? It still takes many, many years. And you're locking yourself into that when you tell yourself that there is no other way to possibly heal. And you're ignoring the evidence of lots of people around you. Maybe I shouldn't say lots, but there are people who do get better on purpose. How did I navigate through that? And you find this community personally unhelpful. They bash people like me. I know. Jamie, it's been crazy to me how hard it is for me to share my advice, even just for free. The moment I say, hey guys, I got better, I'm doubted, I'm dismissed, I'm attacked. It is vile. It makes me feel so sad for them that that's how they react to potential free help. It's like they've identified with always being ill, and there is some sort of benefit or preference they have for believing that this is how they'll be the rest of their lives. I used to get really upset over it. I tell you what, it used to really, really upset me when I was still ill, even before I ever healed the first time. I would be part of these groups, and there was just so much victimhood. There was such a clinging of belief to there's no cure, and if you got better, then you weren't ever really sick. That I don't know where it came from, but I just instinctively rejected that. It just completely goes against how I operate in life. Even before I got ill, like I never want to believe I have limitations. I never want to believe I can't have what I want. Even though it took me years, I've got my life back and I'm happier than I ever was before I even got ill. Because of what I learned from the healing mindset and what I continue to work on in my life. It's there's a balance there because you still want to be around people who understand you. You still want to be around people who believe you. You still want to look for potential answers. Like if they find something that does start helping people, of course you want to be aware of it. So you've got to maintain a connection to those communities when you're still looking for answers. So, I think it's about knowing where you stand on that kind of thing and just setting that boundary. Like, okay, I'm going to go look at whatever forum right now, and I'm just going to go look and see if there's anything good. And I know I'm going to see a lot of crap that's going to make me upset. And I'm just going to acknowledge all that crap in advance. And if I start reading something that's going down a stupid rabbit hole, I need to remove myself from that article or that post or whatever, and I just need to stop reading and I need to move on to the next one. And I would say it takes a little bit of reminding myself of why I'm even in that forum in the first place, which is maybe there's something useful here, because every now and then you find a gem of information. But really just saying, I'm not going down that rabbit hole with them because I don't believe them. I don't agree with their assessment. It's just really standing firm in what you don't believe and getting really clear on what you don't believe, which is, I don't believe that I'm stuck this way forever. I don't believe I have to rely on the doctors. I don't believe no one knows how to help me. And then turn that on its head even and be like, I bet someone out there knows how to help me. I just have to find them. I bet I can do this without conventional doctors. I bet I can find some of my own answers online, maybe if not all of them. I bet I can see progress. I bet pacing can help me. Let's try it and see. I bet I can commit to my health and make positive changes. I don't know how people don't believe that, because that's the only path to hope and freedom. Let's see. Lisa eats very small portions, so she gets symptoms. Maybe it's just because I'm getting older. I don't know what it is, but I definitely need to eat less, and I do feel better when I eat smaller portions. The way I eat now is I typically have 3 meals a day and 1 snack. I'll have like breakfast, 4 hours later I have lunch, like 3-4 hours later I have a little like afternoon snack, like half the size of a meal. And then around like 6 or 7 I have dinner. And that leaves me feeling pretty good. If I eat too much at one meal, it doesn't matter what I eat. If I eat too much in a meal, I get very bloated. So like I have that immediate feedback loop now with my body where it tells me if I'm eating too much. And I used to think that the bloat was caused by what I was eating. But eventually I learned that for me, the bloating was more about eating too much. So as long as I don't eat too much, the bloat isn't an issue. Let's see. Anna, your doctor tested you for a lot of viruses and you have antibodies which show that you do not have them at the moment. Is it possible to have active viruses even with these antibodies? I mean, yes, it is, because you don't know how recently you were infected with the virus, right? If it was very recent, you could still be on the tail end of your body fighting that virus, or sometimes viruses can hide away from our immune system and parts of our bodies. They become kind of dormant, and they can still be there waiting to resurface while we have antibodies. So if you have antibodies, I would say that it's probably not a huge issue, because if the virus does resurface, your body is ready to handle it. But I don't know. That's probably a better question for a doctor. Lisa believes ME/CFS is a partly unknown disease process, but that you can recover without necessarily having medical intervention. I think that's a good way of putting it, Lisa. There's definitely something that's going very wrong in our bodies. I don't know yet if it's the same thing going wrong in everyone's. Couldn't tell you if there's like one disease process or if this is like 100 disease processes that result in the same symptoms. Couldn't tell you. If that were the case, it would explain why people get better using so many different methods. But without more medical studies, it's hard to know for sure. Yeah, Catherine finds those groups to be really depressing too. There are never positive posts, and that is not how you want to live your life. Good for you. You always believe there is hope, and if not, you would give up on life completely. Exactly, Catherine. I mean, even with the healing mindset, the sun is moving. I'm going to move. coming through the crack, right in my face. Okay. Yes, you're talking about hope and giving up on life. If you really believed that there was no chance you're ever going to get better, like what's the point, right? You know, even with the healing mindset, even after the first couple of times I recovered, like that second relapse, I had some really dark days. There were quite a few times where I wondered, like, okay, this is my second relapse. This is the third time I've been severely ill with severe chronic fatigue. Is this the rest of my life? Am I just going to recover and relapse, recover and relapse, recover and relapse? Because maybe some people would say that's better than just always being super ill. But at the same time, it's not living. Because like I was confident in knowing how to heal. I just wasn't so sure about my ability to stay recovered. And thank God I figured that out. I did the math the other day. I looked at the timeline, and it's been 4 years that I consider myself fully recovered. So, you know, I consider myself knowing how to stay recovered now because 4 years have gone by. Yeah, there were definitely times where I would think a lot about suicide, a lot about it because quite frankly, I just lost hope and I wondered why I would keep going. But there was always that little part of me that would resurface and say, yeah, but you can't give up. It's never so bad to give up. And I'm so glad I never did. And I know that suicide is really common in this group of people with severe chronic fatigue and ME/CFS because so many people do lose hope. It's easy to. We can all understand why they do it to an extent. And I think it's important for us to really connect to that hope, that motivation, that desire to keep fighting, that belief that if we keep looking and we open our minds to possibilities, to learning from others who have healed, I think we all can find our answers. I personally believe that. Is that true or not? I don't know, but I personally believe it. And that's why I do these YouTubes and do what I can to help people, because I believe each of you can find the answers you need if you look the right places, if you have the right mindset about it, and you're able to maintain that hope and motivation to keep going even when it's really, 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 really hard to do it. Let's see, Lisa's in those groups. You're giving advice all the time. How do you stand it? It's probably the autonomic system, which can give a variety of different symptoms in different people, but recovery is possible. Yes, it does likely seem to be the autonomic nervous system, the ANS. ANS is part of the peripheral nervous system, and that nervous system can regenerate and heal. That's right. Some people need more than just that to heal, though. So it's a little bit of a combination of like, that seems to be a major theme, but is it the biggest theme for everyone? I don't know. I'm not sure. Yes, Lisa, thank you. 4 years. Let's see. Catherine did not show antibodies with her Lyme because she thinks she's had it for 3 to 4 years and didn't fully realize it. Oh, Catherine, if that's true, my heart goes out to you, because I know I've read a lot about how much harder it gets to treat Lyme the later you discover it. Lyme is now part of your cells, which has caused your extreme fatigue. It literally burrows into all of your cells, and it's really, really hard to work on it. There's one woman who's recovered her life completely from Lyme's disease, whose work I follow because I really respect her approach. I in the past 6 months to a year, I've also watched her launch a business and helping other people recover from Lyme's disease very quickly with 100% science-backed methods. She's just recently brought a licensed RN onto her team, and she hosts retreats, I think, a few times a year. And she primarily promotes the use of bee venom therapy to support the immune system in actually fully eradicating the Lyme's virus from people's bodies. And like I said, everything is science-backed. Everything is backed up by blood work. And what she goes through is very extensive. She does also have a very strict diet component to what she does, and I disagree with her diet component. But everything else she offers out there, I think, is probably pretty spot on. Never having had Lyme's disease, and obviously never needing her treatment. I can't verify it in that way, but I have, spent so much time around people who claim to have a method to help people heal. She's one of the few people who continues to ring true as the real deal for years and years. One of just a handful of people whose work I continue to follow for years because I think she's legit, and I think I've gotten pretty good at knowing who's legit and who's not, because I've gotten pretty good at picking the right practitioners for myself to work with to heal as well. So if you're interested, Catherine, let me know, and I can send you her website or her Instagram or whatever you wanna look at to see if her methodology is one that you would be interested in, because she's getting results that most doctors don't get. Excuse me. She's heard of the bee venom therapy. You're trying something else, non-antibiotic first. Ooh, that's interesting. If you want to share at some point, I would be interested to hear what you're doing and the results that you have on it, but no pressure. If you don't want to share, that's totally fine. All right, cool. Catherine, I will make myself a note here to share that with you. All right, I will do that. All right, guys, we have like 5 minutes more before I have to run. Any other questions today? Very light on questions, although lots of conversation, which is always fun. You are welcome. I'm obsessed with this sweatshirt right now. I think it is so much fun. I don't know if you can see, but this isn't yellow. This is actually like sparkly gold. And it has it down here too. Makes me feel like a kid, but a grown-up kid when I wear this sweatshirt. It's very fun. Especially when you're healing from stuff like this, I think it is super important to look for the fun and the beauty in life, because anything that makes us feel better is really, really important. Because when we feel better, our bodies relax more. It's really, really hard to be stressed and to be authentically laughing and smiling at the same time. And not that we're going to be laughing and smiling all the time, but the more moments we can find to just experience enjoyment in something, however little, the more it's going to help us relax, and the more it's going to help things like the autonomic nervous system and get us into the parasympathetic rest and digest mode, right? And when our bodies are in those healthier modes of being, our immune systems are primed to actually work better. We go into maintenance mode. Our bodies are set up and supported to do more and better healing work, the better we feel. So here's my little moment of fun today, the sweatshirt. Lisa, yes, I am being interviewed by, oh gosh, what's his name? Jeff. No, Dan. Oh, I'm so bad with names. Let me look at my calendar. I am doing my own recovery story with Neufler. I don't even know how to say his last name. Dan Neufler next week. I don't know when that's going to get posted live, but Lisa recommended or got me in touch with the ANS Rewire guy. He will interview anybody who has a recovery story, because he wants to share with people that there are many ways to heal. There's not one way to heal, and he wants people to understand what helps some heal and not others, and why. So I think I really support his work, that aspect of his work at least. I really admire him for not just bringing on other experts, but just bringing on anyone who has a recovery story to share, because I think we all can learn from those. So, of course, I'll let you guys know when that goes live. Thank you, Catherine and Lisa. Oh, Catherine, you surround your room with happy things because you sit in there and you stare at the walls so much. That's beautiful. I love that you've gone out of your way to put happy things in there if that's where you spend most of your time. Most of us say, oh, I can't afford it. I don't have the money to do that. I don't have the energy. I don't have the time to make things nice for myself. I just need to get by and stick with bare bones. But like, no, you deserve to feel as good as possible. And if that means like adding some decoration to your room or painting it or having someone help you paint it another color, go after that stuff. You are worth it. You feeling good is not only worth it, it's part of your healing journey. Dan Neufer. Let's see, Jamie, probably for another video, but you'd like to hear me speak about dealing with life's problems with expressive emotion instead of responding with rational logic. Yeah, Jamie, that's a really big one. I'd really have to think through that one because that's more of like a theme than like a succinct answer I can give. I'll make a note to think through that for next week, and maybe we can cover it next week. Not dealing with emotions properly is supposed to cause chronic stress, and its knock-on effects, its follow-on effects. It does, Jamie. So the way I've read this, or the way I've seen this expressed recently is that like there's external stressors, there are things in our external lives that cause us to feel stressed. But there is also another type of stress created by our emotional reactions. The biggest one being stress created in our bodies by emotional repression. And whenever we think through things logically and avoid expressing our real emotions or feeling our real emotions, every time we repress our emotions, either we repress our emotions by refusing to express them, or we can repress our emotions by refusing to feel them. That creates additional stress in our bodies long term. Even if we don't feel like we get super stressed out by things, it can be creating a lot of stress that we're just not even feeling, that we're just not even aware of because we've made ourselves so numb to it. And those things are very, very harmful. In fact, I'm reading a whole book right now written by a physician who has lots and lots and lots of medical studies linking emotional repression to a whole host of serious chronic illnesses, specific cancers, ALS, Alzheimer's disease, IBS, lots of research showing these things to be occurring much more frequently in people who have a severe history of emotional repression. So yeah, I will think about that more for next time. Great question. Seriously, like deep, poignant, very awesome question to ask. I'm glad you asked it, Jamie. So we will get that to that next time when I have a chance to really think through how to answer that. Molecules of emotion. All emotions go into cells. Maybe not literally, but generally speaking, I think that could be said to be true because emotions are just messengers in our body. They're hormonal messengers, right? That flow through our bloodstream and end up in different receptors and interact with our cells in our body in different ways. So yeah. All right. So glad we did this again this week, guys. It was great. We have one big question locked and loaded for next week that I will address from Jamie. And other than that, sending you guys so much love and health. Oh, I have the schedule for February up. Next week's Q&A is going to be an hour later. So it's normally at 1 p.m. EST, it's going to be at 2 p.m. EST. Every other Thursday in February, it'll be back to the regular 1 p.m. EST. If you want to get reminders about the upcoming live Q&As, I have all of February's videos scheduled in YouTube. If you go to the channel homepage, then you should see all the upcoming videos, and there'll be a little button underneath it that says, like, send me reminders. All right, and then YouTube will send you reminders so you don't miss those videos, especially the one that's at a different time next week. All right. You're welcome, guys. This is so much fun. You guys make it worth it. It wouldn't be fun if it was just me sitting here talking to myself the whole time. You guys being here makes this really special and really worthwhile. And I think everyone in the chat benefits from every other person who shows up. So thank you. All right. Take care, guys. Bye.